Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is that people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name is Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I am all sorts of excited to hang out with you tonight. I've got Mr. Green Bean to my this way. I got Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Bean, how you doing tonight?
Well, Ryan, I'm not feeling good. So, and not only because the Jets are just the saddest. You know, I saw today that we're still not out of the playoff hunt. So there's that. Got a .0006 chance, some shit like that. Woo. But yeah, I'm fighting like the flu or something. So I'm just hoping that my time with you guys does its job and makes me feel better. That's where I am.
Matt, how about you? How you doing?
I am doing well. It's the official holiday season now. Christmas lights are up. I love Ryan's lights behind him, and in a good mood other than with our New York Jets here.
Oh, boys and girls, hit that like button as you head on in here if you're frustrated like we are. We enjoy your company throughout the course of this stream. We do have a poll question in the chat if you would like to view it. Which direction would you like to see the Jets go in the draft? There's quarterback, wide receiver, interior defensive line / edge, or offensive lineman. You guys could vote on that, and we will go through the what people are thinking throughout the course of this stream. Also, for every 25 likes we get on this video, we get to pull up the spin wheel. And look what Ryan added this week. The 𝐒𝐻𝐞𝐞 jersey.
Woo! There it is.
It's taken a while, but it's on there. You can win yourself a 𝐒𝐻𝐞𝐞 jersey. That little green sliver is going to be the actual jersey. A shirt, a hat, and if you land on any of them and you want a pillow, we'll give you the pillow too, whichever one you guys would like to pick. We appreciate you hanging out with us all the same. So we did have a game this past week, and it just so happens the Jets find new ways to lose week after week after week. No matter how far ahead in this game we were, it felt like the other shoe was going to drop at some point. And I'll tell you the point of the game where I knew this was going to be a loss. And it was on, I don't know if it was the first drive, it might have been the second drive, but Aaron Rodgers took a real bad sack by Leonard Williams. Like, put us like 40 yards back from the line to gain. And we got bailed out because Leonard Williams grabbed the side of his face mask, and we got a first down, which ultimately led to the Davante Adams touchdown. But I was like, man, we kind of needed that gift to get those points because we got knocked out of field goal range at that particular point in time. And then everything kind of went the opposite direction heading into halftime. We don't call timeouts to try and get the ball back. Aaron Rodgers misses Garrett Wilson, and we wind up throwing a pick six the very next play to Leonard Williams, who has the longest touchdown by a 300-pounder ever, from what I've heard. That's just bananas. And it just feels like this has been the season of former Jets smacking us around on a week in and week out basis. So, Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on the game. What'd you think? Jets versus Seahawks.
You mentioned when you thought it was over. I know when I thought it was over, and you mentioned it was the 14-point swing where Aaron Rodgers misses a could not be more wide open Garrett Wilson. It's a real shame that route got wasted because it was a missed throw, because I forget which corner on Seattle it was that Garrett Wilson cooked, but a really beautiful route, wide open, but there was a slight breeze, as we would later find out after the game. Quarterback mentioned that it was a little windy at MetLife Stadium, so that's why he missed the throw to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown. And then on the very next play, as you described, a pick six. So instead of going up 28-7, it's now a 21-13 game. And I go, "Ooh, that's going to come back to hurt him at some point." And it did. It did, because Seattle stayed around. The offense didn't do a damn thing in the second half. And I thought, unfortunately, the Jets quarterback looked erratic most of the day. I know he had the 2 touchdown passes. Like that's obviously the good, but the under 5 yards per attempt, the constant missed passes to open receivers was a frustrating watch, but it was definitely more fun than some of the other games that we've seen recently. Like, it wasn't a boring loss. It was entertaining.
Yeah, I had my iPad up. I was just, scrolling Reddit, watching the game at the same time. I was like, oh, wow, look, there goes a kick return. That's kind of nice. You don't get to see those every day.
Yeah.
And
that was fun.
Seattle fumbled like 3 times off kickoffs to start the game. You got a blocked field goal on both, or a blocked extra point on both sides. Just crazy. Lots of excitement. Definitely no shortage of boredom. Bean, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, you covered the momentum shift, the point when you just know as a Jets fan, like, oh, there it is. We just expelled all of our positive juice. There it goes, and that, like Matt said, a 14-point swing. I mean, it was easy. And again, like Matt said, that route from Garrett Wilson, I mean, it was a thing of beauty. It would have been on all the highlight reels, just how good he really is. And he's just, how many times have we seen that this year? Garrett Wilson wide open, running down the sideline for the touchdown or in the end zone, and he just gets overthrown. It's been too many times this year that you just start to just go, all right, well, It's really disappointing because, like you said, there were so many opportunities that, it felt like the Pittsburgh game where, we were looking dominant, like there were all kinds of tweets going out like, where's this team been? This is that. Finally, they do it when it's too late. And it's like, as soon as a little adversity hits, as soon as something happens, the team just packs it in. And I thought the defense was playing hard and like they looked really into it. And I thought the tackling was significantly improved. Obviously, excuse me, I almost just threw up. Will McDonald, Will McDonald, kind of came alive. It just looked like everybody was there to play and nothing doing, man. We can't get out of our own way. I mean, we didn't score another point the entire game. It looked like we were going to go up 28-6, and instead we decided let's not score another point. And it's reminiscent of the whole season. I mean, again, I mentioned the Pittsburgh game because we looked like we were going to absolutely shellac them in their house, and then one pick, and it's as if Aaron Rodgers just kind of, I don't know, he just all of a sudden it's just the offense becomes completely and utterly inept, and that happened in Pittsburgh. It happened here, and we've seen it in the Denver game and the Patriots game. Like there's games where it looks very much like the offense we've been watching for years and years. And I see people arguing on Twitter, it's Aaron Rodgers' fault. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care whose fault it is anymore. It's just, are you not tired? And like you guys said, I mean, at least we had a game where we saw some points. We had some fun, and I'm grateful for that. But man, it's just the same in week in, week out, and it's stealing my soul, man. It's like it's hard to find the gumption to argue anymore, isn't it? It's like this season is the worst I think I've ever watched.
Yeah, that's sorry, not to jump you, Ryan, but I was going to say, I think the thing that really sucks, what Green Bean just laid out so eloquently there. Remember, in 2020 or in other years, there were legitimate debates of, should the Jets tank? Is it better to win games at the end? And literally everyone's like, I don't care. No one's fighting that they absolutely have to win this game for the culture. No one's fighting they have to lose for the draft picks. Everyone's like, well, whatever happens, I guess.
I almost like it. It's kind of a therapeutic, look, the fan base just doesn't care right now. We can't even necessarily bicker against ourselves, which is part of the fun of being a Jet fan. We all have accepted, I think, that the Jets are just incredibly underwhelming, and I've decided to do a lot of other things. I've seen a lot of people in my comment section say, hey, dude, appreciate the content, but I'll see you next year. Like, all right, well, that sucks, but I get it. I understand. Watching this game, lots of penalties still. 12 penalties, I think, is what we had. Back half of the game was really, really bad. I mean, how many, what was it, 2 or 3 fourth down attempts, 2 in field goal range for Seattle, where they were like, oh, we can kick the field goal to go up ahead by, a point or 2 or whatever the difference was at that point. And they're like, no. We don't have any respect for this Jets defense. We're just going to get the first down and continue to go all the way down the field. Like there was no hesitation whatsoever. Very, very push-over performance by the defense on the second half of this game, or at least like the last few drives. I thought Sauce did all right covering Metcalf. There was the one play he gave up on, I think it was a 2nd and long along the sideline there, but that was just a phenomenal throw and an even better catch. Sauce had his arm like in there, and DK is just like a beast with how strong he is, so I can't even fault him for that. We got to see 2 sacks from Will McDonald, so there were some positives there. He's got 10 sacks on the season. You got Olu Fashanu getting, 40-some-odd pass snaps and no pressures given up. That's nice to see, even though Leonard Williams just absolutely feasted on the interior part of our defensive line. Still good to see the young guys kind of going there. Matt, any thoughts on Will McDonald or Fashanu's performances?
I was going to say, if you're going to look for any silver lining, let it be Will McDonald and Olu Fashanu, the 2 most recent first-round picks. I thought both were great. The fact that Will McDonald, after, all the criticism in year 1 and in the offseason even going into this year, comes out and has a double-digit sack season in year 2. Like that's really exciting. And sure, he probably does need to get a little bit better in the run game. I think that will come as he continues to, develop year over year. But even still, like if he's a pass rush specialist who's going to give you double-digit sacks every year, that's a major win. So you sign up for that. And Olu, like another thing that I just didn't have in me to get into and debate this weekend with Brock Bowers having an epic game on Friday. Everyone was out and the Jets should have drafted Brock Bowers again. But I was just nice to see the guy that the Jets actually did take, Olu Fashanu, go out and look like a left tackle of the future. So if he could be your left tackle of the future, fantastic. That in and of itself is a win. And I think we could, confidently say that 4/5 of the offensive line is set for next year already, which you could not have said that any of the last, 5 years. They've had a ton of turnover on that offensive line. So I think you could look to those couple of things as some positives from this game.
Yeah, Bean, what about you? What'd you think of the positives from this game with Olu and Will?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I put out a tweet this week. I just very simply said, right, this is why I couldn't stand the Bowers boys. All right, I almost forgot. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's just a funny thing to me. Like there are great players every year that we want. I mean, the Jets get to take 1, maybe 2 players in the first round, right? And there are a bunch of players that we think would be great. And we could complain, oh, they didn't take our guy and all that. But for some reason, there's like a group. I think there's a large concentration of autism consolidated in one specific group where they can't. Because let me tell you, I happen to know that at least 4 of those Bowers boys were just the same way for Zach Wilson. They didn't shut up. It was like a whole thing. And I don't know, there's something broken in. There's a little disconnect in there where they can't just shut it off. And like Matt said, it was nice to just see Olu go out there and just say, hey, look, a left tackle is never going to be the guy scoring the touchdowns. He's not going to be all over the stat sheet. But when you have a really, really good one, it changes the entire game. It's like, it's one of those positions that, it's like they say, less sexy, right? But I think Olu was the right pick. I love seeing him go out there and get his reps. Watching Tyron Smith just collect more money to never be here again wouldn't have done anything. It would just be even one more thing to hate about it. So it's nice to see, Olu going out there. But man, I wish Malachi Corley could get involved. I mean, they threw him the one pass, kind of went through his hands. They gave him the one end around that looked good. So I don't know. I'd like to see. I don't know what this love affair with guys like Gibson and Clemens, and honestly, I'm just ready. Like I'm just so ready. I can't believe there's still 5 more. There's not 2 more. 5 more games. That's a month and change. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know what the deal is with some of these guys I watch running around, but I'm so ready. I don't care what this group of guys does. I want to rip the Band-Aid off. I know, Aaron Rodgers, technically he's not that bad and he's doing this and the other thing. And I get it. I just want the entire house like flipped and other than the young guys, the young contributors, the guys that you can see. There's a difference between Gibson and Garrett Wilson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between Will McDonald and Michael Clemens. And I'd love to see LT3 and Braden McGregor and Eric Watts and just let's watch all those guys and just get ready for the fresh start. But I'll tell you, Olu and Will McDonald, man, he might have like a 13 sack season coming, and that would really be something if he just can continue to play. Because he's an exciting player to watch, and it's funny, how our response to him being the pick and everything, and that he turns out to be one of the only things that's worth watching on the team these days. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's tough to pull pauses, but those are really the 2 biggies. Tonight see Devontae Adams get in the game. I mean, I don't know. What else we got?
It was tough sledding. I mean, the whole I feel like from across the board, like even like I thought Ulbricht's press conference at the end wasn't very good. I thought Rodgers, it's just kind of like going through the motions, waiting for the season to be over. And forget playoffs. The 3 of us have never covered a team with a winning record.
We're not going to this year.
Nope. Lock that in this week.
9
Brutal.
straight. You know how hard it is to go 9 straight years with a losing record in this league that is built off of parity? It's ridiculous.
It's a statistical anomaly, just like having no playoff appearances for damn near 15 years. It's absolutely crazy. Matt comes in with a super chat. Thanks, Matt. Says, thoughts on this regime. Agnew as the GM, Flores as head coach, Tanner 𝐒𝐿_𝐿, Lions passing game coordinator, as offensive coordinator, and then someone from Minnesota with Flores for defensive coordinator. Yeah, I'm on board. Sign me up. I very much like Flores. I feel like if I were Agnew, I'd wind up going with either Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn wherever I wind up, just because that kind of connection. But yeah, I would absolutely sign up for this, Matt. Bean, your thoughts on Matt's regime right here?
Yeah, I'd sign up for that. I mean, I'll admit I don't really, Tanner 𝐒𝐿_𝐿, I don't really know much about him or what he brings to the table. So that can be up for debate. But if he's the guy, that's fine. As long as we get a guy, I don't want to see a head coach come in here and say anything to the degree of I'm going to let the OC run. Like, that's his side of the ball. Like we saw that with Rex. We saw it with Bowles. We saw it with Adam Gase even called Greg Williams the head coach of the defense. Like I don't want anything of this sort. I just want somebody who's a creative play caller of today's NFL, like that. So it looks like a modern offense. That's really what I crave. I watch these other games and they make me ill. It seems like every team can do it. And we just our receivers are never like the routes are all kind of the same and there's no movement and I don't know, it just seems very static, our offense, and I just want whoever it is, if that's the guy and he can do that, I'm on board. I like everybody else on there. I think if Flores is going to come in as the head coach, he should absolutely bring somebody with him that he's already worked with on that side of the ball. That makes sense to me. But yeah, I think that'd be a pretty strong group if we could pull that together.
Matt, your thoughts?
So Brian Flores has kind of grown on me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying that I was like ever, oh my God, like I would never hire Brian Flores. That was never the case. But I think, as the weeks have gone on, I've been sold on it a little bit more. I'm going to be honest. I really don't know anything about 𝐒𝐿_𝐿 from the Lions, but how about, I'm going to toss this option out instead. What if Flores takes Josh McCown with him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? He's the quarterback coach in
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yes.
You know, like, and has worked under O'Connell and is supposedly like really, really respected in the league. Almost got the Houston job a couple years ago. I think he's ready to take that next step into an OC role. And I know, like, first time play caller is going to scare some people. I get that, you know, getting burned in past situations, but I kind of like Uncle Josh. Why not bring him in as the OC with Brian Flores? And Agnew, I think, is one of the better GM candidates hitting the market, so to speak, this offseason. So I like this theory from Matt. I'd be on board.
Matt, did you listen to my show with Dom C like a month ago? We were like, Flores, McCown, and, well, I don't think Sam Darnold's coming over, but man, Sam Darnold's coming back to New York. He's going to go to LA. But I like that. I like Flores a lot. I like McCown as his OC because of the relationship there. And I do think we're going to wind up not getting like whatever top echelon coaching staff that I think we all probably want. You know, Vrabel, Ben Johnson, those kind of guys I don't think are going to be available. But guys that might have a little bit of a chip or have you know, some sort of, not a stake in the organization, but have been here before. Like McCown is someone that I could see wanting to come back. We paid him a lot of money to be a backup mentor quarterback. I could absolutely see him coming back. I could see Flores coming back just wanting to be pissed off at the Dolphins and show everyone like, oh, I do have what it takes to be that next head coach. I think it's absolutely a very, very good move. I know Bean's on board with this. We were talking him and Vrabel last week. And then what was the third one, Matt? We had one other guy. Oh, it was Todd Monken, right? Was the other guy we were kind of kicking around. That'd be cool.
I like Monken.
Big fan.
I like Monken.
Thank you so much, Matt, for the engaging super chat. I want to take a look over at the Tankathon board. This is kind of where we sit right now. Goes into our conversations about the Jets and where they should go. We are sitting at the 6th pick right now. Jacksonville, Las Vegas, the Giants, New England, and Carolina all sitting in front of us. I do think it's most likely that New England and the Giants will be picking in front of us. I think there's a possibility the Jaguars fall out. They have a lot of really good or a lot of not very good teams left on their schedule. Vegas has the Jaguars, so if Vegas can beat Jacksonville, Jacksonville can beat the Titans maybe, then obviously we play the Jaguars. There's a lot that can happen with those few teams in particular. New England doesn't really have a winnable game left. I think they have the best pathway towards the number 1 pick should they want it, assuming the top 3 teams, one of them or any of them win. Matt, what are your thoughts right now looking at this board? Where would you like to see the Jets go, or how do you see things shaking out? Like, what do you think maybe the final order is going to be?
So the team you have to watch, and you're going to say, no shit, Matt, they have the number 1 pick right now. But hear me out a second. I'll tell you why. The Jaguars are the team to watch. And look at the teams that they play the next 4 weeks. They have the Titans, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Titans again. There is going to be some serious movement on this draft board very, very soon. I think the Giants are going to end up with the number 1 pick. I don't see them winning another game. I think they're pulling the tank of all tanks. I think the Jaguars and the Titans split. And, you know, like it'd be so nice, or nice in a way, I guess, to say, hey, you know, the Jets are going to lose out and end up with like the 3rd pick. Unfortunately, I don't think that's likely. I think they probably win another game or 2. They probably beat Jacksonville, and I could totally see them winning the last week at home against Miami and ending like 5-12. I think 6, if you had to ask me today, I think 6 where they are right now sounds about right. I'm going to say somewhere between like 5th and 7th in that window. So I'll split the difference and say 6.
Bean, what about you? Where do you think the Jets ultimately end up, and what do you think about the top part of this draft from a team perspective?
Well, I agree that the Giants are in tank, so they're not going to win another game. They'll let the young guys be frustrated or whatever. The owner, that's from ownership down. I think it's just like, hey, we don't care. We're getting the quarterback that we want in the draft. So I think they're out. I don't know, man. You were saying Jacksonville and the Titans split. I
They
don't
also
know.
play
Jackson,
the Raiders and the Jets. There's a lot. They have a lot of games against bad teams right now, and I think they play the Colts too.
Oh, you know what would
do,
be
yeah.
really great? It would be really great if we could at least get some modicum of, a revenge if we can let the Jaguars beat us. You know what I mean? And like leapfrog them. You know what I mean?
Why not?
I don't know. I would love to believe that we're going to lose out. Like there's 5 games left. We are on a major, we've won 1 game in the last 7. Is it 1-7?
I believe it's 1-9. They started 2-1, so they're 1-8 in their last 9.
That is fantastic. But I just don't know how long this dream of and it's funny because it is it's not a top heavy draft, right? Like so, but that doesn't matter. The frenzy will still happen and you can definitely trade back and do some things or whatever. So I want to get as close to the top as possible. But I think the Patriots can win some games. I think Drake May is looking competent. I think, right, like you said, the Jaguars play bad teams, but I don't know what's going on down there, man. They look, with Trevor Lawrence getting crushed. I don't know. I don't know what the story is with them. They know how to tank. Like they've done it before. I don't know if they're doing it or not. But anywho, I think the Jets will probably win a game or two. And you look, if we win 1 game, we go from, where are we at 6? We go back to like 8 or 9 instantly just by winning 1. Yeah, 8. So that,
we fall down to 10. Assuming the Cincinnati Bengals and the Saints lose as well, we have a better strength of schedule than they do.
Yeah. So, it's rough. It's like we're so close to the top, yet we're so close to just pulling the Jets and slipping back. And I'm all tank at this point too. Like you said earlier, like Matt said, I think it was like I'm not like passionately. I'm not going to argue with anybody about it this year. You want to win games because you want to squeeze a little bit of fun out of this. Maybe you got tickets. You're already going. You're going to watch. I get it, man, and I don't care. But I'm definitely all about just leaving Aaron Rodgers on the field. Don't stick Tyrod Taylor in there. I don't want any burst now. Too little, too late. I don't want it. And I would love to see the Jets climb up. I think more than likely, though, we're right in the neighborhood of where we'll be. We're going to probably be in that 6 to 8 range, which is still a top 10 pick. It's still exciting. To a degree when we get to that season. But I really would love to find a way into the top 2. I really would.
I feel like top 2's probably asking a little bit. I think top 3's, I think 3 through 5 is very realistic, but it hinges on us losing to the Jaguars, I think. Well, obviously losing out. But New England has the toughest strength of schedule left. They got Buffalo twice, the Cardinals, and the Chargers. So that's why I say I think it might be a tall task, but who knows if maybe Buffalo rests some players the final week of the season. I'm assuming that's their final game. I could see that. That would be nice if Buffalo was like, oh, yeah, we're going to let you win this one so you fall down the draft board a little bit and it doesn't impact their playoff stuff. Giants have the Saints and the Colts left as their easiest opponents. You have the Jets, obviously, with the Jaguars and the Dolphins twice. The Dolphins are kind of falling apart right now. Guys calling out the coach. Like Matt said, like Matt said, I could see us beating the Jaguars. I could see us beating Miami, and then, like Bean said, sitting right around that number 10 pick, or maybe even outside the top 10. That'd be a real shot to the nuts right at the end of the season. And it would be typical Jets.
5-12 should still keep you in the top 10, I would think.
I would hope so. I think our strength of schedule might play against us, though, because there's a lot of teams behind us that have weaker strengths of schedule, which would be the first determining factor in picking in front of us. Jacksonville's got those 5 games remaining against winnable opponents, so I do think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to wind up in that first spot. Vegas has the Jaguars and the Saints as the only teams left that appear winnable for them. Am I missing a team? What other team is right in front of us? Carolina. Who's Carolina got left? Carolina has the Cowboys as their only winnable or easy opponent. They have the Eagles, the Cardinals, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers. As far as a mock draft goes, this has the Jets taking Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, with the number 6 pick. I don't really want to go cornerback, if I'm honest.
Yeah, not exciting.
Yeah, I wouldn't be real thrilled with it. I understand why they could go that route, but I'd be a little disappointed. I think Carter.
I have a confession, guys.
Yeah, let's go.
Ready for this? This is a safe place. We're amongst friends here.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Mason Graham. I think I'd be okay with them going interior defensive lineman, which is very normally against my draft logic here.
Mm-hmm.
But do they not need a big space eater on this defensive line? And I know that you can get one later and all that. Like, and if they did a different position and took one in the 2nd or 3rd round, I would come around on it. But I'm in the very early stages of doing my like deep dive into these prospects, and every time I watch Mason Graham, like, I really want this guy to be a Jet.
I don't hate that. I'll be honest. I think interior defensive line. So my real rough take on this is, if we're not going to go quarterback, then I would prefer McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, if he's there. If not, then I'm a kind of a coin flip between Mason Graham and Abdul Carter. Graham being the interior defensive lineman from Michigan, and Carter being the edge rusher from Penn State. Both those guys would be really, really exciting. And then honestly, outside of that, I think Jalen Milroe is going to absolutely scream up draft boards. And I think when all is said and done, he'll be, if not close to a top 10 pick, a top 10 pick. I think he's going to run like a 4.3 40 at the combine. And I would be okay if the Jets wanted to make that selection too. I wouldn't bat an eyelash at it. I know it sounds a little crazy right now. I'd go a few different ways at the top part of this draft. Bean, is there a particular position you're kind of feeling?
Well, I would love the idea of just finishing the offensive line, going as unsexy as you possibly can with the maximum impact. Whether or not there's a guy up there that's worth doing that with, I haven't made my decisions yet. I don't love the idea, like Matt said. I hear you. I was actually watching him beginning of maybe towards the middle of like Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I was kind of digging into some Mason Graham, but I don't know, man. I feel like I can get that in the later rounds. That's just what I feel. But if he's the best player available, it is a position of need. I don't know if I'd have a problem with it, but I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm all traumatized from the fucking 7 years in a row that seemingly all we did was defensive tackles and safeties. So I'm still kind of maybe tainted, but I don't know, man. I think Quinnen, Mason Graham, Jermaine Johnson, and Will McDonald can be a pretty exciting defensive front as long as that's what we're doing. I mean, I don't know. We get a guy in here and they're going to run a 3-man front. I mean, then we got to look at this a little bit differently. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really hoping that we can just finish the offensive line. I'm all about the offense at this point. You can get away with an average defense. It just seems like we can never have a consistent offense. I want to see an offense that's young, together for a long time. Like now we got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. These guys are playing together. We got 4/5 of the offensive line. They now have a year under their belt, kind of going into this with a new regime, a new offensive mindset, new quarterback, and the offensive line is done. And the skill positions are already, kind of strong, if not deep, but strong. You got some real guys. I think that's a better place to be than starting to spread the wealth and getting a cornerback, like, I don't know, or, again, the defensive tackle. Maybe. I'd rather Mason Graham than a cornerback. I'll say that.
Yeah, corner's the one spot that, while the player's good, I just don't particularly want to go that route. We've seen good cornerbacks. It doesn't lead us to any more victories than, we currently got right now. I agree, helping the offense is huge. We could play a little salary cap game, kind of figure out an idea of where we might end up as far as overall cap calculations are concerned, and what players we might need. If If you want to do that, Matt or Dom and I did a little bit of this last night. You kind of go through the list. We figure we'll cut Aaron Rodgers. Do we think it's a June 1st cut, or do we think it's a take your lumps next year kind of cut?
I think it's a take your lumps.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Kick the can down the line.
Bam.
Imagine you can get somebody to throw you a 6th.
to take that. That would be incredible. Minnesota's like, give them to us. And we'll just watch it all play out all over again.
Yeah, and then can we finally stop that cycle?
Yeah, that'd be nice,
Can
right?
we never do this again?
I don't want to get Jordan Love in 15 years from now. And I don't want Rex Ryan, to come back for a third stint with us, after we sign him this offseason. I'm done. I don't want this to play out this way. So right now, with an Aaron Rodgers cut, a Devontae Adams cut, and then all the dead cap or all the void years moved off the roster, Jets are sitting right around $35 million in salary cap space. I do think Lazard would probably be a post-June 1st cut. Actually, you know what? I could see it just being a straight-up cut and just not even worry about it. He goes, I could see, let's see, who else we got on here? I could see Morstead getting cut at this point, save 2.5. I could see Zerline getting cut, save 2 point whatever. Michael Clemens, bye-bye. Izzy's already gone. That's like kind of it. I mean, we don't have a whole lot. This is 46 players under contract before I made these cuts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cuts puts us at what? 33 people under contract heading into the offseason and just about $50 million in salary cap space. So not looking like we're going to be in for a big year. I would say any of the large free agents, well, one, I don't think we're going to attract them, and two, I don't think we're paying anyone that's going to be a higher priced contract by any stretch of the imagination. Real quick, Blitz Crew comes in and says, remember when getting milk thumbs to 200 was easy? We're at 53 right now. We've only got 2 people qualified for our giveaway at the end of this show. That's how sad.
Well, 3.
This franchise is.
If I get 2 more milk thumbs, there'll be another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drop a milk thumbs. We're struggling out here, guys. We're all in this together, man.
Yeah, this is some heavy lifting right about now.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging.
Milk thumbs.
Oh, geez. I need some like crying milk thumbs or something.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, that's all we want to do. Cry. CJ Mosley.
So
Did
he's
you add
in a
him?
weird spot where we don't save money if we cut him. There's 16 million in dead cap and we lose 3.6. So you would be losing cap space to remove him from the roster.
What if he retires?
If he retires,
It's the same,
I don't know if they
right?
give you an option. I think it is the same because we would probably just convince him to retire post June 1st.
He's
if I had
played
to
like
guess.
3 games this year and has left each game with injury, man. Like I love CJ Mosley. I think when he was healthy, especially in 22 and 23, he was really damn good for the Jets. Unfortunately, I just think it might be the end of the line here.
Yeah, I think he's probably gone. I mean, I'll put him down as a cut, and then we lose a little bit of salary cap space from doing it. But I think it's realistic to think he's gone. And then everyone else, it's kind of like you got Vera Tucker, who's going to be on the team next year, but you don't know what you're going to do at O-line. You got the young guys in Sauce, Quinnen, Garrett, Olu, Will, JJ. Got John Simpson under contract. Quincy. Tyrod Taylor coming back. Just re-signed Michael Carter, Breece Hall, Tittman, Hennessy, Ruckert, Mitchell. I mean, really, you go down the list, it is a very, very young team, which is probably the plan for next year. Just take your lumps all together, let them all learn as a unit. But this is a kind of roster, if you don't get a quarterback in here or you don't pay Garrett Wilson. Like, I think you have to pay Garrett Wilson in the offseason. You have to say, hey, look, 4 years, 120, you're part of our future. Let's extend it on your contract. We don't want you going anywhere. Bear with us. We're getting a quarterback. Whether it's through the draft or, you think you got something in Jordan Travis. But I don't know how much longer Garrett's going to wait without getting paid at this point.
He'd be the first guy that I pay.
Yeah, same.
Yep, me too.
I hope
you got to let him know. I know it's all going to depend on like the new, like if we get like Rex in here and he brings in some, some quarterback coach from the Carolina Panthers, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like Garrett Wilson's going to be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. Would you play hardball with Garrett if he was like, I want to trade, or would you just try to trade him for as much as you can get right now? Like, do you think let's say he does not want to re-sign a contract and something were to happen?
I don't think that would be the case, honestly. I think these guys, usually when they ask for a trade, it's because they can't get the contract they want. And if the Jets are going to give him like a legitimate comparison contract, to like either the Devontae Smith contract or Jalen Waddle, I think he would sign it. And I think
Waddle got 28 a year.
Yeah, I think that 28. I think 28's the number. If it gets up to 30, like you predicted, like I wouldn't blink at it. Of course, I would do it. But like I don't know, Garrett's the guy that I would want to build around, not only because he's talented, but because I think he handles himself the right way and is a good ambassador for this team.
Blitzcrew's got an interesting super chat. Given Olu's last week, do you think Tyron Smith did his job? I mean, his job was to be the starting left tackle, and Olu was supposed to get a redshirt year. We were only going to use him as a backup kind of tackle, but if Tyron Smith has any impact on Olu and Olu becomes a franchise left tackle, the Tyron Smith contract would be well worth it, especially since a lot of his contract is based on playing time anyway, and he's out for, probably done for a career at this point, I would think. So I'll say yes, Tyron did his job. Bean, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, that was his idol. And, I don't think anybody, we knew he was old. We knew he was not going to play every game this season, which is another reason why drafting Olu was supported by so many. But I don't think anything's in question about like who he is and how well he knows the game and the position of left tackle in the NFL. So I think that time together, that Olu got with Tyron Smith was probably very beneficial for him. Getting to learn under, truly a Hall of Fame level left tackle and getting to watch him, and Morgan Moses for that matter too. I mean, he's been hanging out with these guys. These are studs. They're long-term vets, well regarded in the league, highly thought of, and very talented. So I think, yeah, man, Blitzcrew, I think you're on the money. It would have been real nice, like Ryan said, to have a winning team and Olu. Olu just kind of riding the pine, having that red shirt year with Tyron Smith, Pro Bowl level left tackle and shit, all the stuff we dreamed. But I guess if we got to settle on the consolation prize of Olu's time with Tyron Smith was to his benefit, then I'll take it. Because, Keith Carter ain't giving that to him.
Blitz has another thought. Arthur Smith from the Steelers as head coach. I'll start that off. I don't really want Arthur Smith. I thought he did a bad job with the Falcons. I think he's just one of those guys that's better as an offensive coordinator than he is as a head coach. Matt, your thoughts on Arthur Smith?
Not as a head coach. I liked him. I'm going to be honest. In 2021, I liked him a lot for the Jets job. I didn't think he did a very good job in Atlanta. I think he's someone who's probably just a coordinator. And I wouldn't be too moved by that if that was the direction that the Jets went.
Bean, what about you? What are your thoughts on Arthur Smith?
Nope. And I didn't like him then. I thought it's like when Joe Brady was getting the head coach and stuff, when he was like 1 year in Carolina. Like, I just think guys need more time I didn't think he was ready for the Falcons job. Now, that could lead you to, the idea that maybe he'd be a good, getting his second opportunity after going back and, kind of falling into the ranks again. But I never really liked Arthur Smith very much. I don't know what it is about him. So, I mean, I think we could do worse, but I'm not the biggest fan of his overall.
I see a lot of conversation in the chat revolving around Garrett Wilson. Will he or won't he leave? And even just like trying to figure out the quarterback situation. I see Oregon Jets mentions Trevor Lawrence. Not necessarily as an option, but just saying I don't think anyone thinks Trevor Lawrence is good. There's some theories out there that maybe the Jaguars would move on from Lawrence if they could reset the quarterback clock, and would that be worth anything? I guess I want to steer the conversation a little bit towards, is there a quarterback out there, young or old, high end or low end, that you think the Jets could bring in that would appease someone like a Garrett Wilson, a Breece Hall, that would convince them like, hey, look, this team is going in the right direction? Some names off the top of my head, Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson played with him in college. Is that something that would be appealing enough? Or is the quarterback Justin Fields not good enough in the NFL that Garrett Wilson wouldn't really want to? Or is it something that like, hey, I know this guy from college, I'm not just going to bail on him when they're bringing him in, giving him a shot? Does it go deeper than that? Does Trevor Lawrence become available? I know he signed a big contract. I'd have to look exactly at his deal. It's a little goofy from what I can tell. But could he potentially be an option if he's on the market? This column right here under option reads a lot to me like it's like the Aaron Rodgers contract, where the team that has him on the roster pays him that bonus, and then it tacks on to the rest of his contract. So I think the Jaguars might be able to trade him, even with all this crazy guaranteed money like down this whole column here. That's an option. I don't know, Matt. Your thoughts on like other quarterbacks from around the league, whether it be a vet or a young guy, overperformer, underperformer. What are your thoughts?
I would not be in on a Trevor Lawrence trade. I don't want to take on that contract, and I think he's a middle of the pack quarterback, and I wouldn't want to do it for someone like that. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields doesn't really move me. He's better than some of the options they've trotted out there in past years. Jameis would be fun. I mean, he had an electric night on Monday. 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, three interceptions, 2 pick sixes. It would be a freaking fun transition year. I'd say that much.
That would be electric,
honestly. Fuck it, Tyrod, Jordan Travis, and maybe a rookie.
Jameis
top
Winston
2
is
quarterbacks on the free agent list for 2025 on Tankathon's board.
Here we
Hello,
go.
darkness, my old friend. Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson. Ugh.
There they are.
The best.
Being your thoughts on bringing in like some type of quarterback, and that could be maybe via trade or whatever. Some options out there.
Don't you just love the whole thing we're doing? Like you said, like it's just like that graphic of the top 2 quarterbacks is just like I can't, you can't plan it any better than this. Like if the design is like, how can we just absolutely grind this group of people? You know what I mean? Like it comes from every angle. And it's just so creative. It's delightful. I don't know. I'm starting to really appreciate it. It's like, when you first sip a whiskey, it doesn't taste so good, but you force it down because you like the effect. And 10 years later, you're buying $800 bottles because they're older, and you're aficionado. This is a well-aged scotch. And like, so now that's how this feels to me. This is a thing of, this is perfection. That our last 2 top 3 quarterbacks happen to be at a year we need a quarterback. Right? It's like, come on. This is great. I would love, let me tell you, dude, like I said before, like I'm almost at the point, like, all right, let's try to get a real regime in here and the whole thing, and that's great. But if they got to sit down at the big table and they got to say, hey, I got an idea. Let's just have the most fun thing we could possibly have. And you fucking sign Rex to a lifetime contract. Tanny goes, the GM search is over. We found our guy. It's me. I've hired myself. And then we go get Jameis Winston. We say, you're here till you're not. There is no quarterback search. It's you, baby. And he's running around and he's fucking, you know, he's making people laugh and he's throwing 600 yards and 5 interceptions. And I mean, remember that year he had 33 touchdowns and 33 interceptions. I mean, if there's an anomalous, weird play, bring him in. Let's do it. Who's the most loudmouth, exciting? Get Jamal Adams in here as just like a depth, and he could be like the DB coach assistant. Let him run around. You know what I
Clown
mean?
car's open. Come on in.
Dude, like, let's just do it. Wouldn't that be better though than this whole thing of like, we're, you know, we go Hard Knocks last year in the Achilles on September 11th, and we do Zach Wilson again, and then we do this whole thing, and Aaron Rodgers every week on McAfee. Are you eating your boogers? No, I'm not eating my boogers. Well, what about this? You didn't run on the red line, and then he goes to the Steelers, catches a touchdown, #red line. You know what I mean? Like, is Rex and Jamal and Jameis and Danny, is that not better? I'd take that over this shit. I'll tell you that, man. I say we consider it.
I mean, Jameis is definitely going to be I think the best quarterback for us. Sam Darnold's not coming here.
No.
I think Winston would be a fun ad, like Bean said. It's one of those, like, who knows? We're not going to get the worst draft pick, I don't think. I mean, it's wild to think he throws a pick six with like a minute left. The Broncos run it all the way back for a touchdown. The Browns are down 8. So Winston's like, well, I guess I got a shot. If it weren't for a pass interference all the way down the far end of the field, you probably score a touchdown on the long throw. And then he winds up throwing an interception in the end zone. Immediately after. It would be incredibly frustrating, but I'd love to be in the position to like be in every game and to see a lot of scores and like, sure, why not? Why not? Give me something to root for.
Yeah.
The other players on this list don't really tickle my fancy. I don't really want Russell Wilson. I mean,
he's going to stay there,
fine.
I think.
I think he's going to stay there too. I agree.
They're doing great.
I think, I mean, Cooper Rush, Tyler Heineke, Mason Rudolph. Wouldn't it be great to get Vrabel, and he brings in Jedrick Wills, and he brings in Jameis Winston because he knows them from his time with the Browns. And then we just kind of figure it out from there. See what happens. Yeah. Why not? Guy can dream. But Milton Fung comes in with the super chat. Says, am I crazy to not want to draft a quarterback in the first? We're 0-4 with rookie quarterbacks in the past 20 years. I'd rather take a flyer on Fields, Jameis, or Minshew. Fields and Jameis would be the two for me. I like Minshew, and I would have said Minshew probably before even this year. Well, I guess not before this year because we had Rodgers, but there was a time where I really liked Minshew. Fields would be fun, right? Like a power offense, kind of like, okay, we've got Brees, we've got Allen, we've got Fields. At least Garrett knows Fields, and maybe there's some type of synergy there that they can kind of figure out. But like, damn it, I want to have fun. Bean, could you get on board with a Fields signing?
Probably not. I mean, I think that I don't have any real question that Justin Fields would have given us a more exciting and fun season than we saw this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Justin Fields is probably we're gonna just stay in that middle mediocrity realm. You know what I mean? He'll have his games, but he's not Lamar Jackson. Like, people like to kind of compare the two with their rushing, but it's a different level. You know what I mean? Like, I think Justin Fields, I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't love it.
Matt, what are your thoughts on Fields?
Not great. I think he is dynamic with his legs. I think he takes too many sacks, and I think there's a reason why they switched from Fields to Russell. I mean, we kind of gave him shit at the time because their record was good, but I think going to Russell Wilson's really opened up the Steelers' passing attack. I don't know. He wouldn't do it of the players that is listed here. Jameis is the most intriguing to me. I would like saying we're 0-4 with rookie quarterbacks in the past 20 years. Like, that shouldn't stop you from taking a quarterback. If you like one, take one. But I think it's fair to look at the guys in the first round and go, I don't love them. And that's fine. You know, I don't think this is a particularly strong quarterback class. I think there's a chance that the guys who are going to end up going the first round could be good based on situation, but I also think there's a chance that they're not. And if you want to wait, that's fine. But like, are the Jets just never supposed to take a first round quarterback again because they missed on so many? Like, I don't think that's the right strategy to do either.
Let me say though, 0-4 on rookie quarterbacks.
Whoops. Sorry.
I mean, we're 0 in everything because we haven't won a Super Bowl, if that's what you mean. But I mean, Sanchez, while he wasn't great, I mean, he would, dude, let me tell you something. Watching Zach and Sam under center for this team, like, it made me realize, like, Sanchez, while he sucked and he was like an interception machine, he was significantly more competent for us than either one of those guys. There was night and day. And the one before him, it's Chad, right? Chad Pennington.
Mm-hmm.
So they were
good.
I mean,
like Geno and Hackett, like Geno and Hackenberg in there because they're second round. I don't know if those are included.
He said
with
first.
Like young quarterback. Yeah,
he said first.
Well, he said we're 0-4 with rookie quarterbacks
in the first.
Am I crazy to not want to draft a quarterback in the first? We're 0-4 with rookie quarterbacks in the past 20. So in the past 20, I think it. First. I mean, I guess we never got to see Hackenberg play, so I don't know if that's.
Yeah, we don't know. He could have been
pretty good.
Could have been fantastic.
Had it.
He can't play in the XFL, but maybe he would have been good in the NFL.
That's right. Hackett. Fucking, it might as well be. McCagnon, he had it. He nailed it. Nobody knew. Nobody understood him. He was too good.
Blitz Crew drops 5 Talking Jets memberships. Thank you so much. We got Party with Peg and Artie, JT, Sour Diesel, Scott Foster, and Johnny Boy joining the OnlyFans.
That's nice.
Drop some new not new, but new members. Drop some JETS emojis in the chat. Thank you so much, Blitz Crew, for doing that. Peter
nice.
Comes in. Peter says, re-sign Moses, add Fields with Tyrod and Travis, draft the most pressing needs, run stuffing defensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, then backfill cornerback, safety in the later rounds. So let me see. I don't mind resigning Moses. I could get on board with that. Fields, I'm kind of lukewarm on. I feel like I'd rather take a swing at Milton or Monroe. Milroe. Whew, words are tough right now.
I know who you meant.
Yeah, Milroe's the one that I kind of like on my like little dream sheet. I'm hoping he becomes a passer and like whatnot, but at least he's like super intriguing. It's sort of like where I'd like to go. Fits a similar-ish mold to Fields, I guess, but with a rookie contract and more years. Most pressing needs, run stuffing defensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end. Yeah, those are the positions I want to hit for sure. I think we do need a tight end. I think we do need, a wide receiver, especially once Devontae's gone and we cut Lazard. It's going to be very thin at the wide receiver, in the wide receiver ranks. Bean, your thoughts on Peter's thoughts?
I don't like adding Fields. I mean, I just don't see it as like a real solution. I mean, he's a backup on his second team, and it's like the whole argument for, Zach. It wasn't Zach's fault. Well, I mean, he's a third string quarterback right now, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think adding Fields. I like re-signing Moses as that. I wouldn't want him. I mean, if he's the initial starter, that's fine. I would love Moses to like kind of, extend his career and just be like a swing, or just back up right tackle, whatever, for a few years. I mean, I think you could do a lot worse than having him just kind of sitting back there under some, behind a young guy. Tyrod and Travis, that might be what we see next year. I'm really still interested in Jordan Travis. I mean, who knows if the next regime is going to be? They might be like,
that's what I was going to say.
This guy's, we didn't like him at all. It could be a complete flip with him and some other guys that maybe we liked in the draft. But yeah, let's see. Draft most pressing needs, runs. Yeah, I see. I'm with the wide receiver. I don't hate the tight end right now. Although I'd love to see the new regime come in and believe in Yeboah. I don't know. See, like this team, they haven't proven to me they can't even use Garrett Wilson right. So, you know what I mean? I don't see anything. Like there's nothing that happens on the offensive side of the ball with this team that is an indicator of what the player really is, in my opinion. You know, because we've seen it. The offensive output is terrible. There's no real development. They just kind of, we sign guys that are great elsewhere. They come here, they suck. They go somewhere else, they do okay. It's like, why can't we use them? We don't know how to. So I don't know. A tight end would be okay. I don't love tight ends in the first unless they're really something like a Brock Bowers last year. It wasn't our need, and I didn't think that was the pick. But somebody that's obviously going to be great, something like that. But I'm a big defensive tackle in the mids. I like the second round for a defensive tackle too. We don't have a third this year, I think, but we do have a second.
Third. Yeah, we got the third from the Lions last year in the trade down. So we still have our full complement of picks.
What did we give up for? What's his?
We had 2/3.
We gave up our third.
Yeah, I thought we gave the other one away. We didn't.
No,
that's nice.
we still have a third. It's at the back end of the draft. But
hey, that's better than not having it. But yeah, I like what is it? Ty Williams out of Ohio State at defensive tackle. I like guys like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, Peter, for the most part here. I got a little bit of different shuffling around, but the big one is I wouldn't want Fields on the team as our starter.
Matt, your thoughts on Peter's thoughts?
I like most of it outside of the Fields part, but IDL, wide receiver, tight end, corner later, maybe. Yeah, I agree, because you probably have to replace DJ Reed, but I don't know if I want to do that in the first round of this year's draft. I will say a tight end that I've really liked a lot is from Penn State, Warren.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen mocks where he goes like 15th, and I've seen mocks where he goes like at the back of the second round. So if they could do like Graham and Warren and with their first 2 picks in the top 40, that would be pretty nice. I think right now, at least.
Yeah, if they don't go quarterback in the first or second, I feel like just surrounding Travis or Tyrod or building the foundation for that next guy to come in is a totally fine move. I'm not sold one way or the other on like going quarterback early. Edis says trade for JJ if they keep Sam. I guess if McCown is our OC and Flores is the head coach and they thought they really liked JJ, maybe. I feel like O'Connell wanted JJ for a reason. I feel like they're more likely to keep Daniel Jones as their kind of backup quarterback and groom JJ. But I don't know. What would you have to give up? A second round pick probably to get JJ? Matt, what are your thoughts on getting McCarthy from the Lion or from the Vikings?
The injuries scare me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. He had the second surgery on the knee. It probably would be a second round pick, would be my thought. There's obviously potential. And he looked good in the preseason, but if he had a setback with the knee, like I don't know, that scares me. I'm not going to lie.
Bean, what about you? Any thoughts on trading for McCarthy from the Vikings? Call it a second round pick?
Nope.
Nice. Short answer.
Yeah, I think find our own dudes.
Sour Diesel says thoughts on Hendon Hooker. Also, any good draft quarterbacks. The consensus is Sanders and Cam Ward are the top 2 guys, seemingly going to be out of striking distance for the Jets. Next names that you'll see are Aular, who may wind up going back to school. Milrow, I think, is going to wind up working his way into the top 10. Who else is on here? Let's see. We got big
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, Dart. He's not even on the Tankathon rankings. Ewers, Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier. There's some names. We're going to have guys will start climbing up draft boards. It wouldn't shock me if we see like 4 quarterbacks go in the first round again. Just because of where their value ultimately lies. Hendon Hooker's, he's a little bit older. What's his deal?
He was drafted at like 25 years old. That was a couple years ago already.
Let's see. Just curious. Has he even gotten into any games?
No.
Not really. 6 completions, 9 attempts, 66.7% completion percentage. Boys and girls, we got ourselves a quarterback.
Bring him on.
Why not? Yeah, look, I don't know. If you get like Ben Johnson and he says, that's the guy, sure. Why not? But it's not going to be for a whole heck of a lot. You got to think it's going to be for not a lot of money. Where's his age? What's his?
He's going to be 27 in January.
Yeah, that's an old quarterback to be getting his first reps. Yeah, he's almost 27 right now. So yeah, January 13th. I don't know. Milroe's the one for me that I'm like excited about because I don't see the top two as options for us. And this kid's gonna I think he's gonna absolutely blow up the combine. He's got a really strong arm. He's got really fast legs. I'd get on board with him. Jeffrey jumps in the chat. Sour Diesel was the first rat super kind I was treated to. Was the first rat super. I am very confused right now. So just for the membership, name and memories, my gift to the 3 y'all amazing Jeff fans. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeff.
You are a gentleman and a scholar. Greatly appreciate it.
Sour Diesel was my first. Something super kind I was treated to. So I guess Sour Diesel gave him a membership, maybe?
I don't know. Sour Diesel also super chatted Hendon Hooker, so I don't know if that has anything in conjunction with what he's talking about here. But maybe Sour Diesel gifted him the membership. Treated?
Possible.
Either way. Jeffrey, you're a kind fella. Thank you so much.
Allison Cuckwab in disguise.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a banana. Banana land.
There it is. Look, a banana, everybody. That's fair.
See? Look at the things that could be coming by.
Everybody likes the banana.
Edward Ziff drops in, says, who's coaching our O-line and can we get Matt Stafford? Matt Stafford is an interesting case. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a whole heck of a lot of him this year. He's been pretty beat up over the last few years. I do think there's a situation where Sam Darnold goes back to goes back to LA and ultimately is the heir apparent to Stafford. And you would think he'd probably start next year. So I think Stafford probably retires. Let's just say Stafford and Cousins become available. Just for a thought experiment here. Matt, Stafford, Cousins become available. Draft compensation is relatively negligible, whatever that number draft pick would make you feel. Would you have any interest in either one of those two as a quarterback for us if the pick didn't really matter?
Not particularly. And I love Stafford. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. He's going to be 37 in February. So we'll be signing up for another older quarterback. Kirk Cousins has looked really bad the last few weeks. And he's another one who's in his mid to late 30s with an Achilles injury. Stafford has an injury history. Maybe it's the recency bias talking here, but I don't know if I want to sign up for an old injured quarterback again.
Bean, what about you? Any thoughts on Stafford or Cousins, regardless of the draft pick?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, Edward. I'm with Matt O'Leary, and I think for good reason. I'm done with trying to kind of squeeze the last bit of lightning out of a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, let's just reset. Let's get rid of the Mosleys and the Tyron Smiths and the Aaron Rodgerses of the world. Let's get rid of this coaching staff, get a fresh batch of people in here, let them develop and build their team. We have a lot of core pieces, whether it's the offensive line, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Quincy, they're all here, man. And those are good ass players. Like, rather than bring in Stafford and then he's the guy, and then we have, Tyrod Taylor and Jordan Travis again, and he's hurt, and here we are. You know what I mean? I just want to not be here anymore. So I like Matt Stafford a lot. He's been a fun quarterback over the years. I think the Rams did it right. They got him. They won the Super Bowl. We tried to replicate it. It didn't work. I don't want to go then take the guy that they did it with 5 years ago or whatever it might be, and see if he could do it here for us. It ain't gonna happen. It's just a wasted year.
We got a massive Jermaine Johnson update from Jermaine Johnson's Twitter account himself. Ready for this?
He's playing this week.
Foolery? I wish. Just a quick update. I apologize for the lack of video updates via my girlfriend and I's YouTube channel. I know we said we'd be documenting my journey there, but truth be told, someone stole our vlog camera a little over a month ago, and we never got around to getting another one until this week. So we work hard at putting together a detailed update and videos as to how I've been and how I've been attacking this thing. Stay tuned. Who the fuck stole Jermaine Johnson's camera? And we got to find that bastard.
Dude, he must be seriously hobbled for someone to steal his camera, because that's one of the few dudes I would never want to steal a camera from. He is so terrifying from like a muscular standpoint. I completely agree. I really like JJ. I hope this Achilles injury doesn't like nuke his career. I'm deathly afraid of the Achilles tear. Being your thoughts on JJ?
Yeah, well, I think here's where you got to look. If my experience in my life is any testament to this, when shit goes missing in the house, it's somebody that's allowed in the house. Usually, that's who's got it. Okay, and then you check the local pawn shops because that's where it is. Okay, I can't tell you how I know this, but I know this. You see, I love JJ. I think he was, you know, in conjunction with the Reddick baloney, the JJ Achilles tear was the biggest real hit of the season. You know what I mean? Like we had, we had a depleted somewhat defensive line, but I think if JJ was there and Will McDonald's resurgence and all that stuff, we could be looking at a different scenario, and that was a major hit because I think that he's a true like young player on the ascend, and you just hope he can come back. The youth is in his favor, of course, but I don't know, man. It's a tough one to come back and still have that burst and everything. And even if it's just psychological, like being afraid of kind of, putting the same amount of pressure on it and playing the same style of football. I think it was a huge hit, not only for us, but for him. I mean, he's got the work ethic and all that. You guys know his story about how he came up and all that. He didn't get, through to the NFL on the easy train. He did it one of the harder ways. So I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I love him. I think he's a great player. He's a great guy on the team. I'm hoping he comes back. But JJ, one of your nephews or little cousins has it. That's who stole the shit.
Jermaine Johnson is one of the three players we're going to have to decide on his fifth-year option. Sauce's fifth-year option set to be $20 million. Garrett Wilson's fifth-year option is $16 million. So he actually loses basically $9 million by not making 2 Pro Bowls, by having horrible quarterbacks. Granted, you think he's going to get a contract, so it probably makes it, sort of wipes that out a little bit. But Jermaine Johnson is going to get the basic fifth-year option, and it's just under $15 million. So before I move on to the next few Super Chats, Matt, your thoughts? Do you exercise the fifth-year option this offseason on Jermaine Johnson?
Oh, man, that is a tough one. I'll go, yeah. I'll say yes. I will take the gamble that he bounces back and is fine. But that's the new GM is going to have a very tough decision with that one, coming off a major injury like that.
Bean, what about you? What do you think about his fifth-year option? For reference, let me see if I could find the franchise tag value. Where that
It'd
is.
be up there, right? It would be probably close to 30 million.
It's probably going to be pretty close. I mean, it would be not this year, it'd be after next year. So it'll only go up higher. Contracts, is that right? How do I find fifth-year options here? Or not fifth-year options. Tag and tender projections. So right now, edge rusher for 2024 about $25 million. So figure it's about there, 25 to 27 million on a franchise tag.
And what was his 5th-year option?
Just under 15 million. As far as, let's see, edge rusher, as far as contracts go, 15 million would put him right at the Hassan Reddick deal, which makes him about like the 20th-ish highest paid edge rusher. 2 years from now. So all these numbers could elevate a little bit more. So it might be a little bit worse. But figure he's a top, a number 1 edge rusher if you want to go by money standpoint, like a top 32.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably do it.
I'd like to see him do it. I think like Matt said, the new GM coming in with AVT, with Jermaine Johnson, the contracts of Sauce and Garrett, how do those work out? It's a tall task for whoever's coming in. And if we pick the wrong guy, it's going to be a long few years for us, unfortunately. Joe M. comes in and says, thoughts, trade back, take the best offensive lineman, take a quarterback in the second, and let them play a year behind Aaron. Man, I'm like, I keep flip-flopping on this, but, as more and more weeks go by, like, I really don't want to see Aaron back here. I feel like Bean said, sort of with Stafford and Cousins, it feels like a wasted year. Like, at least if you have Tyrod and Travis in there, there's the hope that maybe Travis could become something. I don't really want to see Aaron. But as far as the initial thought of trading down, taking an offensive lineman, I would be all right with that. But I don't know the value of the trade up. Like, we'd have to hope that probably Milroe screams up draft boards. I don't think we're going to be in position to get any of the top 3 guys. And if we wind up winning a game, then I don't know if there's a player that really is speaking to me right now as far as a trade up candidate. Quarterback in the second, I don't know. I think if you're getting cute with the quarterback and you like one, if you trade down, just take him in the first at that point, unless you really feel confident he's going to be there. I don't know. Matt, your thoughts on trading down and then getting a quarterback in the second round?
I don't really love this plan from Joe M. I don't love the trade down for an offensive lineman. I don't think this is as good of an offensive line class as it was a year ago, number one. Number two, I think the Jets offensive line this year has actually been pretty good, and they're returning 80% of it next year. They likely are going to have to find a right tackle at some point. I don't know if they need to do that in the first round. I think you could do it in relatively cheap in free agency. I think you could potentially bring back Morgan Moses and add a mid-round guy. I want no part of bringing Aaron Rodgers back at this point to push that cap down to 26. I think you need a fresh start. Let the GM and head coach, whoever you hire, make the decision at quarterback and for the roster. And I think that they're just going to do, a clean cut there. As for, taking a mid-round quarterback, sure. There's going to be ones that people like. Nussmeier, Drew Aller from Penn State, Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck. I'm not advocating necessarily for any one of those guys in particular, but if you like one of them and you want to bring them in with Tyrod and Jordan Travis and this guy and just have a 3-way competition, see who wins the job, fine.
Bean, what about you? I know you mentioned solving the offensive line. You like the idea of trading down, getting the O-lineman, and then maybe going quarterback in the second?
Yeah, I actually do like it. Again, we have to see, like right now it's tough, right? Because there's gonna be all kinds of movement up and down and all around. And the truth is, Joe, is I haven't really dug in that deeply yet. I like to make it through the season. Well, I don't even know. I'm trying to make it through this. Now I'm trying to actually get the gumption to do that. So I'm 3 layers deep into not giving a shitville. So I'm trying. I'm struggling. And being sick doesn't help, man. Trying to be sick and then try to read something about the Jets. You know what I mean? It's they cut Izzy. Yeah, scoodly ding dang. I'm he went to the Niners. Oh, yeah.
100-yard game. Unloading.
No, dude.
It's happening.
You know it. Like it's made for it. It's another. How can we just? I mean, it's a small dart, but we want to throw one more dart in their chest. And so I don't know, but I do like the idea of getting as high up in the draft as you can into where the quarterbacks are. Like, so lose out, man, and just to take your best swing at getting into that top 2 or 3. And then if there's a quarterback there, trading back, getting as much capital as you can, and then fixing the O-line. Now, again, if there's nobody there, like if you're looking at the O-lineman and you don't really have first-round grades on them, then you don't force it to do it. You wait till the second and you get your guy there. And if a defensive tackle is the guy that you feel like is the only one worthy of using that type of a pick on, and it's a position of need and he's the best player available, then you do that. But I like the idea of trading back, recouping or adding some, not even recouping, but adding some draft capital for this and next year, and then fixing the O-line, because I think it can be done. This isn't a draft class where you're going to see, like last year, it was like there was the potential of like 5 offensive linemen going in the top 15. I think we got 4, right? Something like that. What, Latham?
We
Olu,
got the 4th one. Latham, Olu, Alt. Or no, did we get the 3rd? I guess we got the 3rd.
I think we got the 3rd. But yeah, I mean, but there was the potential. It could have, even more. It could have been justified. And so, I don't see that this year. So I think you can slide back and get the guy that you're zeroing in on. You got a good chance to do that. You slide back to, 8, 9, 10 if you're up there in the top 2 or 3. You get you get a 3rd this year. You get an additional 1st next year, and then you take your guy. That's the way to do it. So I love the idea. Now, what quarterback's going to be there in the 2nd? That's worth it, because again, like if you're just taking quarterbacks to take quarterbacks to be projects, I mean, is it really worth it when you can get a stud wide receiver? Don't forget, man, the 2nd round is prime real estate for wide receivers, especially the last bunch of years. So I love getting wide receivers in the 2nd round.
Dom and I had this conversation last night. As far as the offensive line is concerned, with AVT making as much as he's going to make next year, is there any thought at maybe kicking him out to right tackle and looking for a guard, or potentially looking for a center and moving Tippmann out to guard? Like any playful moves with the offensive line, Matt, that you would consider?
Nope. Don't fuck with it. It's working. It's working. Don't mess with something good. Joe Tippmann's had a nice year too. AVT settled in at right guard. John Simpson's looked like a phenomenal signing so far at left guard, and Olu is starting to look like a left tackle. It's working. Don't mess with it.
Being any thoughts about playing with our offensive line?
I'm with Matt. I think, man, let's let guys actually have more than 5 games out of position. Like let's let people actually get together and then gel in those positions together as a unit. Adding one guy is significantly different than adding 3. Yeah, and one guy that's there is moving positions. You know what I mean? It's like it's much of the same. I'm done. The last 4 years of offense, really the last 7 years of offensive line, 7, 8 years has been like if we should do that one day. Just how many offensive linemen started for the Jets in the last, like
since Douglas?
Since we could even say since Gase. Or even since Douglas, right? Because he had a lot of work.
Was his first one. It was like, wow, I like the swing, given the time of year, but man, that did not work out.
No.
Gator needs his gat. It says, joined late, but my take on Rodgers is as bad as he's been and as disappointing of a leader as he is. When's the last time we had a quarterback start every game? Man, that is a glass half full if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. And he's going to throw for more yards and touchdowns than we've seen in forever. I mean, guys, think about Zach Wilson hasn't thrown for 10 touchdowns yet.
Yeah.
Think about that.
They haven't had someone go over 20 touchdowns since 2015. And he's going to do that in like 2 weeks if he starts the next 2 games, which I'm imagining he will.
Isn't it disappointing? One of the best quarterback performances we've seen in our history is one of the most disappointing quarterback performances we've seen in our franchise's history.
It's unbelievable. It's like the anomalous aspects of it are unbelievable. You know, like look at that it was early in the game, the pass down the left sideline, another great route by Garrett Wilson. And it's like it just wasn't there. You know, Garrett Wilson had a step and a half on his guy. All you got to do is throw him open. And for a guy like he's been doing that his whole career, dude. And like, even though, you know, he throws 2 touchdowns, it's like every game, you know, it's like even, I don't know. I mean, he's thrown numerous pick sixes. You know, it's just very frustrating. Anybody thinking that, you know, he's not a big part of the problem just isn't looking. I mean, we're not getting the Aaron Rodgers. Now, if we had the top 3 defense that we had, maybe it's a different story. Maybe it's all different. And if Greg Zuerlein made the kicks, and there's lots of different tales in this season, but at the base of it, like you're just watching Aaron Rodgers miss all day. He's missing constantly, and he's hitting. He's doing some real nice stuff in addition to that. But look, even a lot of his touchdowns are like little dump offs to Brees that he takes to the house and shit like that. It's kind of illusionary. You know what I mean? A lot of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're getting the wow plays that we were used to seeing from an Aaron Rodgers led team. And it just, yeah, I'm done. I'm off Rodgers. It's for me, Rodgers and coaching are easily the 2 biggest things, and we can change and move off those 2 things after this year. And I think the Jets absolutely should. Matt, anything else you wanted to add to that?
I was just gonna say he seems like he's afraid to take a hit. Like he knows like the next hit he takes could be the last ever. So he's like skittish almost.
Yeah.
And is reluctant to take shots downfield. Although, you know, his first throw of the game he did, but unfortunately it was underthrown to Garrett Wilson and it wasn't caught. So it's tough.
Yeah, seeing ghosts was kind of the term I almost wanted to go with when I was watching that game. It's like, man, he just doesn't quite look like he wants to be back there. Boogie Down Bronx comes in with a super chat, says, this 10-year misery has made us Jet fans draft experts and possibly great GMs because we know our football. It's great being a Jet. Well, we have our GM, Mr. Greenbean.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to get him hired. If you got an interview because of like the internet swell of support, Jets Twitter just goes off and says, Greenbean, they got to bring this guy in, draft analyst. I'd kiss you.
Go.
I sent it in. I sent my stuff in. I got the emails I needed to get. I know some people, so I got the emails I needed to get. I sent in my cover letter. I sent in my resume. We'll see. Did you see I had BetUS make a graphic for me?
I didn't see that.
Oh my God, I need to see this.
Wait, I'll drop it in the. It's not that great. I thought they would do better, but here, let me see if I could throw it in our chat here. I don't know if it'll.
Is it on Twitter?
No, not yet. I just looked at it when I opened the show. Again, I've been sick, so I haven't really. I've been kind of a little bit out of the loop, if you will. Here, I'll do. Here we go.
This Twitter thing that I just pulled up has O.J. Simpson's ex-bodyguard claims to have a recording of O.J. confessing to the murders.
That
really
fantastic.
Yeah, I guess police have confiscated the thumb drive and are verifying it via TMZ.
Uh-oh.
He's like,
Juice
yeah,
is
I did
loose.
it. Here, see if you can open that, Ryan. I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
that's one of them. We thought this would be funny.
Oh shit! Oh my God!
Oh man, I love it.
Oh,
I absolutely love it.
Isn't that good? And
that's perfect.
That's great.
yeah, I thought that'd be funny. You know, like to passing of the torch.
Blitz Crew comes in and says, it would be cheaper to do the 5th-year option on JJ. Even JJ at 80% is a solid starter. Given his work ethic and age, he will be back and great again. Yeah, we were talking about, for those of you guys just popping in, JJ's 5th-year option is going to have to be exercised by the time of the draft. I guess you run the risk of, like, if they take an edge early, maybe they decline the 5th-year option. I would hope they don't make a decision until after the draft anyway, just to provide even if they don't want to go edge rusher, provide the illusion that they might or maybe won't, or I don't know. Don't tip your hands when you don't need to. But I like the idea of giving him his fifth-year option. Bean was the one that kind of convinced me before with like the story of him coming up. He goes to the JUCO school. He gets to, eventually over to FSU. And then all of a sudden he's like even his rookie year was a little underwhelming. And then you saw him take the next step. And this year was going to be an absolute scary season. I'm willing to roll the dice on a guy like that. Matt, any thoughts to add to the JJ fifth-year option conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I said I would do it. JJ has continued on Twitter. Shocking. He's gotten into it with a fan tonight. I know that's rare for Jets players to interact with fans on social media and defend themselves. But he says that the surgically repaired Achilles is going to actually be like enhanced and that he's going to be like better than ever. That's his thought anyway.
You got to think any of these guys like AVT and JJ who have suffered Achilles injuries, you would think they'd want to go towards the procedure that Aaron had, but now maybe after seeing Aaron move around, maybe that's not the procedure you want to get. What do you think?
It doesn't look great either, though, and he's got the tradition.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe it's a.
I mean, but they're not 40 either.
That's the piece. So maybe that's the surgery to go with. Any thoughts on JJ Bean?
I mean, I'm right there with Blitz Crew. I mean, I think it's smart to do it. He's a young ascending player. Yes, he had the injury, but like if there's a guy that's going to work back and do it, it's him. Mm-hmm. He's in that group. He's not known as some kind of lazy bum, going through the motions. I don't know, man. I think he's a potentially special player too, and his work ethic is not in question.
Looking at the poll question, we got 340 votes, and 51% of the chat wants to go with quarterback. The next biggest is 25% with either interior defensive line or edge. 17% say O-line. 7% say wide receiver. Which, I wonder how many people, let's do another one. Let's remove quarterback and just see how that changes the results, because that I feel like is kind of interesting.
If you remove quarterback,
what the options people want.
Yeah, we'll go. Let's say edge, interior defensive line.
Dude, Nightbot is in love with Bino tonight.
Wide receiver,
Bino,
and O line. All right, so we just changed the poll. Draft in the first round. Which position would you like to go with? If quarterback's not an option, who would people choose? Interior defensive line getting a lot of early votes in the chat. I think for me, if I'm looking at it and I can have any one of those top guys, I think the receiver is still the one I go with. McMillan is like the most appealing to me because I feel like there's a real shot Garrett's not here in the future and Devontae's already gone. Lazard's gone. If we don't take a quarterback, you're going to need you're going to need some help around him in 2026. But if McMillan's not there, I don't think I want to go wide receiver in the first. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword. If we're looking at the top end of this board here. So as far as, I guess maybe I should pull up the big board. Big board's probably the way to go. It would definitely be the best prospect in Mason Graham. Like, we're probably looking at D-line being the top guy on our board. Do you think anyone really takes a running back in the top 10? The kid from Boise State?
No. I think he goes to Dallas.
I was going to say pick like 15 or something like that, right? Wherever they wind up.
Yep.
That feels like a good spot for him. He's going to be a hell of a running back.
He is. McMillan screams Patriot, and I know he's mocked to them in this one, but that seems to make a lot of sense with their lack of weapons and young quarterback.
Is it weird for me to kind of want them to get into like position to get Travis Hunter? Would you rather them to get Travis Hunter or McMillan? Like, I don't particularly want Hunter, if that makes sense.
I'd much rather them take Hunter.
What
I'm
do
a
you-
firm believer that Garrett Wilson can burn any quarterback in the league. Like, I believe that. Like, not on every play, of course, but I think Garrett Wilson can eat against anybody. So, like, I don't care I want us to have the weapons. That's what I want.
Well, I guess
You know what I mean? And
my
I don't-
question is, does Hunter become that wide receiver cornerback combo? Does he only play corner in the NFL?
I think they're talking about. I mean, he's listed as cornerback and you know, most other places. Let me see something here. The two sites I use the most have him at cornerback. I mean, could you? Yeah, here's another one, cornerback. So I kind of have him as that cornerback.
Okay.
Could you
So
imagine
McMillan
though?
kind of-
You think? But do you think anybody would?
I don't
do
know.
that?
I don't think we'll see a two-way star, but I think there's a situation where, like, hey, we need a play, and we're just going to put in our best weapons. You know,
Yeah,
maybe it's a
yeah.
Hail Mary play, maybe it's a trick play, maybe it's like, I could see something like that.
Yeah,
But I
could
feel like
see
he's
that
going to
too,
have to
actually.
pick. He's going to have to pick. And if cornerback is the spot he ultimately plays, Patriots just used, you know, a top pick on Gonzalez. I don't think they're going back to the well that early. McMillan does feel like a Patriot. Man, I would love to see them win some games. McMillan's the guy I want. Guy catches everything.
Mhm.
But if consolation prize, Graham or Carter, I'm happy with that.
I don't want Will Johnson, dude. I
Yeah.
just don't want it. Boring.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too.
I
think
want
I'd
offense.
rather,
I
like
got to
you said-
admit, I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
I was just gonna agree with you, Bean, as far as like O-line doesn't feel like a want for me right now, but I'd want the O-lineman over the corner.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like think about this shift? Like, we get a new regime in here, somebody with some true offensive chops, right? Like, you know, like, so we got a real offense in here, and we have a young offensive line that plays together for 4 or 5 years. Could you imagine?
Would be nice.
Like, wouldn't that in and of itself changes everything, man? If the quarterback has time and the running back and, you know, the running lanes are there, it changes everything. Like, average quarterbacks with good offensive lines can win in this league. You know, we see, I mean, up to this year, like the worst. We're in the 30th, 31st, or 32nd offensive line year in, year out. And we're wondering why we suck the biggest balls in the NFL. You know what I mean? And we can't do anything. Our quarterbacks are running around all over the place. Zach's, you know, running 27 yards backwards. It's like, what's happening? Well, because there's no offensive line. So if we could get that done, like finally just commit. Again, Eric Mangini, when he came in, dude, he had some big balls. He just came right into this team. He traded John Abraham. He got, I believe, the Nick Mangold pick. So he came in, he said, with my pick, I'm taking my left tackle to Brickashaw Ferguson. And in the same round, he said, I'm taking Nick Mangold, the center. And we're calling this one a day. I'm going to have my 2 offensive linemen for the foreseeable future. And they were here for 10 years together.
Okay.
They never missed a play. I mean, I think Brick missed 1 play in 10 years. They were on the field. Neither one of them were hurt. Think about that. That's what we came from. It's time we get back to that, man. Offensive line is everything.
I don't know. Because you go tackle. I mean, AVT is going to be a problem after this year, you know, if you don't bring him back. So you're going to need at least right tackle, right guard, have some
Yeah, you
kind
get a
of
guard in
air pack there.
bids. He's your
Simpson
third.
only has 1 year left on his deal. Do they bring him back beyond that year? It feels like we can never just feel confident about the O-line. Like, I feel like Dallas had their O-line for like, you know, we're good. We don't have to worry about it because we got so many dudes.
Yeah, but why not with AVT? Like, so AVT did he miss 2 games or 3 games? I think he missed 2 games, right?
Yes.
And he's back in there, you know, so he finishes this year. He plays next year. He plays well for the new crew, and they love him, and they just sign him. Imagine that.
Why not?
Be nice.
You know what I mean? Like weirder things have happened in the NFL.
Also, maybe can I ask something from this new regime? Can they find someone on offense to be a difference maker in the draft outside of the top 40 picks? That's my hope for this new regime.
It'd be nice.
Because
Get
like
some late round
Garrett,
gems.
Brees, Olu, like I feel like those guys are gonna stick and be, be difference makers. But instead of taking a Carter Warren or a Max Mitchell in the mid rounds, can they maybe find someone in the third round who could be a right tackle? Is that too much to add?
Every year we see guys get drafted in that round, and you're like, plug and play starter.
Dominic
figured
Pooney.
it out.
Our guy. I know, Bean, you loved Pooney, didn't you?
Loved him.
Third round. Has started for the 49ers. 12 games.
Yep.
Perfect.
Nice.
Get us a guy like that.
Yep. No, we like to. I mean, we always get these regimes that like they like to take the people that no one's ever heard of or like unexpected. Like we're the smartest people in the league.
Yes, that's perfect.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I mean, like to do that every now and again. Yeah, sure. You're like, hey man, I'm telling you this is the guy. But every year, like as your rule. Like you're just taking these players that nobody's ever heard of, or like, like just not the pick. Like every year in the draft, we're screaming for guys, whether it's Dominic Pooney, whether it's Puka Nacua, well, you know what I mean? And it's whether it's Trey Smith or, it goes on and on and on and on. And it's just not that hard. Like there are guys that are clearly coming in with a better shot to last. And then you take this, this swing on like a trait, the guy, there's lots of GMs that, how many times you hear it every year. You can't teach speed. Like, well, you know what? You got to teach him. Okay. So he's got speed. He can't catch and he's dumb as a box of rocks. We have that guy, by the way. His name is fucking Kuntz. All right. He's got everything. He's maybe not speed, but he's got the build. He's an Adonis. Yeah. He can't catch. He's too stupid. He doesn't know how to run routes. He doesn't care. He doesn't work. But we'll take them. I mean, it's 7th round picks. You don't give it, you don't give a shit so much, right? I'm not trying to make too big of a deal about it. But like when you look at our drafting over the decades, every regime we have, somehow they think they're the smartest people in the NFL. They reach for players. The one I like to use all the time is Brian Thomas over Ed Reed. It was just like, come on. And great. Brian Thomas was okay. He was good, good player, but he wasn't Ed Reed. And he was never going to be Ed Reed. So, I don't know. I would just, like Matt said, it'd be really nice to just have a regime that's like, well, this guy's clearly the pick. You know what I mean? Let's take him.
They had it on defense, like finding, Michael Carter.
Yeah, that was good.
Like
Sherwood,
UDFA, and Bryce Huff. But it's never on the
Eccles.
offensive side of the ball. Eccles, thank you. Yeah, like, I don't know. They got some role players in the mid to late rounds. But on the offensive side of the ball, sorry to bring up old wounds for Green Bean, but P. Ryan didn't work out.
Yeah.
Michael Carter didn't work
Mims.
out. Izzy didn't work out. Like
Mimsy,
Mimsy, Elijah Moore,
Michael Carter, if you didn't say that already.
Carter Warren, Max Mitchell.
Carter Warren, Max Mitchell. Like Carter Warren.
Jeremy Ruckert right now.
Poor Jeremy Ruckert, man. Not looking too hot.
No, it doesn't look good.
Jake comes
Doesn't
in.
look
Jake
good.
says, I don't know if I'm happy you're as negative as me now, Green Bean. I hated knowing it and being the negative guy after Buffalo and not wanting to shit on believers. You just nailed it on Mangini, though. Yeah, Mangini came in and he made the hard pick. There were a lot of people, myself included, when I was in high school. I wanted Reggie Bush. Go up, make the trade. Go get Reggie Bush. That's the star player from college. I want everything to do about it. I have the only jersey from another team that I have is a Reggie Bush Saints jersey. I loved Reggie Bush coming out of college. It was so much fun to watch him play. The right pick, DeBerkshire Ferguson, and Nick Mangold.
I wanted Matt Leinart. I was in on Matt Leinart. I was like, this guy, he's going to be the dude.
Yep.
He was not. And I'm
He was
glad
not
that
the
he
dude.
took the offensive lineman.
That's great.
Imagine if Mangini had more draft picks. I feel like Tannenbaum always kind of shipped stuff around. we didn't have a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
they drafted like 4 guys in 2007, and 2 of them are in the Ring of Honor, and
Yeah.
one's in the Hall of Fame.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, you like to say, like, when we're in the middle of the draft and you use a 2nd-round pick or a 3rd-round pick to trade up, you get all pissed off because you want to see the pick, you want to accumulate players, but nobody ever talks about the second that we gave up for Revis. You know what I mean? To move on. Nobody ever talks about it. I think it was a 2nd and something else. I forget. But nobody ever talks about it. If you hit, you hit. I mean, Tanny's drafts were funny because, he used the draft capital to make trades. He wanted players, like, whether it was Chris Jenkins or whoever, he went out and he didn't need the picks. He would say, okay, he had 3 picks in 2009. He had Sanchez, Sean Green, and Matt Slauson. That was the whole draft.
Solid.
Imagine that draft party. That was the whole draft, man. And he traded up for Sean Green. Like, he had 4 picks. He's like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Oh, look at this 4-man draft class. Ready for this gem that Rex Ryan and Mike Tannenbaum cooked up? Kyle Wilson, Vlad Ducasse, Joe McKnight, and John Connor.
Yep. John Connor, the Terminator that isn't actually the Terminator.
That is rough. Oof.
He had that one play, though, didn't he? Remember? Knocked a guy, and like I was on a kickoff, he spun in the air.
Yeah. Dude, there's a lot of ways to crack an egg, and getting rid of your draft picks clearly worked for the Rams. They made their first-round draft pick this past year. They got a Super Bowl out of it. You don't always need the draft picks if you can get the players and you got the right coach.
Got the right coach. It's all about McVay in that house.
It really is.
Can you imagine, like, think about the Redskins at one time? They had, like, Shanahan, McVay, some other guys all on this.
Yeah,
and they were
LaFleur.
fired.
It was It was Mike Shanahan was the head coach. Then you had Kyle Shanahan, you had McVay, you had LaFleur.
Yep.
And I think there's one other. I think there was 5 guys in the picture.
Bobby Slowick.
So I didn't realize Slowick was on there. That's wild.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan, offensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur, quarterbacks coach. Sean McVay, tight ends coach. Mike McDaniel, wide receivers coach. Raheem Morris, defensive backs coach. Even you want to throw him in there.
Wow.
Bobby Slowick was a defensive assistant. Pretty impressive.
Maybe we just got to go get Slowick. And that's just how it's got to play out. Keep pulling from the Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
There's really no direction that I can really like hammer down as like the direction I want to see the Jets go, other than like move on from Aaron Rodgers, and like that's kind of it. I'm kind of open to any other direction they go at that point. Although I'll have a lot of words to say depending on who the head coach is. Like if they go out and they get Rex, she'll be like, son of a bitch, we did it.
It'd be the most electrifying 8-9 season of all time.
Yeah. We're still gonna have a losing season. It's gonna be like, wow, they went on a tear towards the end, but it just wasn't enough.
A Gatorade bath for 8-9.
Yep.
Yeah, they were 6-9.
Yeah, 6 and 10.
Yeah.
The Gatorade bathed them.
Jake says Mangini built us our best team ever. Problem was Tanny was still just a bean counter with Rex when we had a GM there to let the coach do personnel. We had a GM there to let the coach do personnel. That was my biggest gripe with Rex and Tanny, was that Rex played GM too frequently and Tanny wasn't really the football guy. Like if you could give me like Douglas with like Rex, I feel like that would almost be a happier marriage. But I don't know, even going back, like now I think about the AVT trade. We gave up 2 third-round picks for that. Kind of like the 2 third-round picks back at this point. Kind of nice to see who those players would have been.
I have a great Mike Tannenbaum story that I don't think I've ever said on the air. If I have,
this is good.
Stop me. But I think enough time has passed and I no longer work for the company, so I don't really care anymore. But in 2021 or I guess it was before the 2022 season. So Zach was going into his second year. The company I worked for had a guest speaker via Zoom, and it was Mike Tannenbaum. And at the end, they opened it up for questions. And naturally, as a Jets fan, I was the first one to raise my hand. And I asked him, because it was supposed to be like about management. So essentially my question was like, when do you know to delegate? I was like, for example, like in a draft room, like how do you know when like you're like, if you want to make a decision, how much info or insight do you take from like a coach? And then I asked him how much begging Rex Ryan had to do to get you to draft John Connor, and he laughed.
That's great.
You know, Rex was like, "We need the Terminator. We need my son's roommate or whatever. The quarterback from Clemson. We need this. We need that. Whatever." Was the roommate? I don't remember.
That's great.
We had a few of those weird picks under Rex where it was like, "Nah, it's a Rex pick." Damn it.
There were a lot of Rex, Quentin Copel's Rex pick.
Oh man, that one over Chandler Jones. I think that's what it went.
Louisville Slugger, Rex pick.
Yep, instead of Brandon Cooks or any of the wide receivers that went beyond that.
Or anyone else, just about.
But we got the cool name.
Yeah, he was great.
What other ones were in there? Wilkerson was a Rex pick, right? I think that was his first pick.
But, I mean,
outside of Sanchez, like the following draft, I guess.
No, Kyle Wilson was the next one.
Oh, that's right. It was Wilson.
I liked Mo before he got paid and got lazy. I liked Mo Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Quentin Copels.
Aaron Maben in free agency. That was a worthwhile swing, I think. Maben was was he a first round pick? I think he was.
Yeah. Yes,
out
he
of
was.
Auburn.
Yep, for the Bills.
He was pretty good for the Jets in a pass rush role, wasn't he?
He was
We had a
good, and then we
situational
signed him, and he sucked.
The first year in 2011, he had 6 sacks in 13 games for the Jets in 2011. Like he went on a heater a few weeks in a row. I remember another fun Matt O'Leary fact for you. In 2011, he had Aaron Maben had a sack against Washington. The Jets beat Washington, and a 16-year-old Matt O'Leary made that picture his profile picture on Facebook. Aaron Maben with his sack against Washington.
There you go. Mayhem, they used to call him.
Yep.
Crazy.
I remember watching Tebow come over, just like doing Tebow down on the ground. Dude, the amount of I feel like meme worthy things that we did or consistently do. We're just our team is based on memes. I feel like it always has been.
Yep. No, we're always headline grabbers. That's what
Snowball
we are.
brings up King Ugly, Vlad Dukas.
Ugh, 2 years in a row. How could they be so mean?
When you got a mug like that, it just kind of it earns it. That I don't know.
You should have stood up and said, "You guys don't think I know? I've been like this my whole life."
Jake says, "Rex ran all personnel. He needed a leash." Yeah, he did.
He did. He could coach him up, but when he got his hands on the roster, that's when things began to take an ugly turn for the worse.
A little sideways. Let's see. Just scrolling through the chat. What are we at? Oh man, we're at the end of our show. 9:53.
Yeah, it's the end. It's the end.
That went fast. Bean, how many qualifiers we got tonight?
It's going to be 23. I'm going to get one more here.
You want me to look at last week's?
Yeah, let's get
fucking Bino again. Fuck it, I'm doing it. Bino gets 2.
Bino before there'd be no
Dude,
gas.
it was 4. He's gotten 4 tonight.
It's impressive.
Yep, Bino it is.
Oh, we have a few from last week that we could toss in here.
How many we got, Matt? Give me a.
Okay. Well, they're all right at the top. It's 3.
All right.
Peter S.
Always good for a timestamp.
Yep.
Eric Craig.
Good man.
And Alex Verga.
All right. Good crew. So we got 26
right, so that
then?
makes it 26, yeah.
All right. 26. We're going to do the third time I click generate. 1, 2, 3. Number 12, Bean.
Shit. I fucking lost it. All right. Number 12. Jeffrey is tonight's winner.
Jeffrey? is tonight's winner. Let's spin it.
We almost got a jersey last week. Maybe a DH jersey.
Oh,
it is
DH. Yeah.
Ah, yay!
Jeffrey gets a DHgate jersey. Quality may vary. Let us know what you want. Reach out to jetstalk247@gmail.com or talkinjetshow@gmail.com. We'll get your shipping information, and we'll get you out a DHgate jersey. See how it goes. Thanks so much for playing. Appreciate you, Jeffrey.
Congrats, Jeffrey.
So without quarterback on the board, 40% of the vote goes to interior defensive line. And then O-line at 22, wide receiver at 20, edge at 19. So it seems like the fan base is relatively split outside of interior defensive line. If Graham goes before the Jets, then who knows? See where that all plays out. Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our stream. Bean, you got any last words for us?
Only that I'm not doing the late show tonight. I am sick and I'm dying to get in bed and kind of I'm on the mend. So like I'm feeling better. So I just can't wait to go to sleep. So sorry everybody. We'll pick it up another day, but no late show tonight.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
New Just Jets tomorrow morning. Be on the lookout for that. And more daily content over on Matt O'Leary NY. Check it out.
I think we'll have to start. I don't know if I want to start doing my like mock off season and just see how it goes, or if I really want to wait till the end of the season at this point, because I know I'll make a whole video, put all this work in, and we'll win a game or two. And I'm just going to throw my whole thing for a loop. So many variables. We'll see. Maybe I'll have something coming out. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in with us in a season that's all but lost. It really makes it the chat and you people here, Matt and Bean, it makes this all worthwhile. So this is Talkin' Jets, signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is that people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head. No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Jets!